So right here is the paint and stain for stairs and railings. So in this first category, it gives you the option to input any quote that you may have received in the event that you're using a third party to perform the work for you. So in the event that you received a quote for $3,000 from your subcontractor, you can input that amount here, and within the back end, it's automatically going to add whatever your markup may be, which is obviously customized by the owner of the product or the manager that's on it. They can set it to the markup that they would like to see on the quote page. On the quote page, the customer will never see what this number is. They're going to see what the markup number was. Okay. So down below is where you can input how many treads. So let's say you have a full set of stairs. There's 12 treads, we'll say. They are 4 feet wide, and I want to stain and clear coat those treads. And the risers, I'm going to do 14 of them. There's 4 feet of riser, and I'm going to paint the risers. So I want that two-tone look to these stairs, okay? Now in the railings, you can input how many feet of rail. So we'll have 25 feet of railing. How many feet of nosing? We have the nosing at the top of the stairs and on the landing. So we're going to say 12 feet. And we have 4 posts. And how many feet of trim? We have both sets of stairs and underneath the nosing. So we're going to say 80 feet of trim. The railing I want to be stained. The nosing will be stained in clear coat. Now the posts, I want them painted as well. And the trim, we're going to have the trim all stained. So now that that's in, you're going to scroll down here, and this is where you're going to input the finished products. Okay, so we know how much we're going to need. This is where we're going to tell exactly what's needed. So for paint used on the job, I want to use a generic can. If I want to use a generic can, I'd simply input whatever the paint name is and the paint code right here. If I chose a product that was already in the system, it already comes out that it's OC40 I want to use, so I could use whatever information I want to put in, what store I want to get it from, whatever you would want known is inputted right here. Now, you'll notice that this now says not applicable right here. This says this because you don't need to put a price in here because we already have this in the back end. But going back to generic, you're going to see insert price per can below right here. So we can just type in that it's 40 bucks per can. Now this is important because above, every item you've put in is calculated per foot of how much product is actually used to do that work. So it'll tell you exactly if you needed, 1.2 cans. It'll automatically round up in the back that you need 2 cans of paint times $40 each. So it's going to obviously round up to $80, and then it'll then add in your markup of your product. So the same thing goes below for primer. You're going to see stain, same thing. You're going to do generic. You can input whatever your information you want the customer to know, and then put the price per can. If it's something you already have in the system, you can see it still lets you input that $30 right here, but it says not applicable. So this is something you want to make sure. If it's not applicable, make sure there's no price in there. We're going to go back to 0 there. If you put $30 in there, it's not the end of the world, but keep in mind it's going to then mark up the product $30 per can for stain used. So definitely want to watch that you're not doing that. And the same thing applies with your clear coat. You can choose Varathane, not needed, or generic.